I recently watched all three Matrix movies to study for the Schmodown, and I had a realization. Neo and his abilities in the Matrix and the philosophies behind them have a lot of similarities with the philosophy of the Force, specifically in its presentation in the films, and that's what I want to talk about today. What Neo, Morpheus, and the Matrix in general can teach us about the Force and how it works in Star Wars. The guiding principle behind anything Neo can do in the Matrix is that he has to believe he can do it. He has to break through his own mental blocks. He has to realize that he is in a computer simulation of the world. By accepting the fact that gravity in the Matrix isn't real, he is able to bend and eventually break that limitation. By accepting the fact that his muscles aren't actually getting tired, it's just a computer telling him they should be tired, he can fight harder and longer. Literally everything within the Matrix is a mental block that needs to be overcome. I mean, any skill doesn't need to be learned or earned in the Matrix, it's literally just a download. But the truly amazing things done in those stories are done by people just believing that they can. Compare that to Star Wars, specifically what Yoda says about the Force. One of the biggest teaching moments for Luke is when he fails to lift the X-Wing out of the swamp. He can't accept that moving his ship is the same as lifting rocks. As Yoda puts it, it's only different in your mind. Luke wanders off to sulk, and then Yoda shows him what's what, and Luke says he doesn't believe it, and of course Yoda says that is why he failed. Yoda didn't say, well, it's because you need to do more force push-ups, or move around more stones, or just get more training in general. No, it's just that Luke has to believe that he can do great things. That's basically Luke's "there is no spoon" moment. The child in that scene tells Neo that he shouldn't try to bend the spoon, but he should instead try to bend himself. He needs to unlearn what he has learned, let go of those things that are holding him back, and learn to believe in himself. And by the way, I think it's interesting that all of the, quote, potentials that are in the Oracle's living room in that scene are children. Morpheus also has a line about how they normally don't take older people out of the Matrix because the older they are, the less able they are to accept the truth. It's similar to the way the Jedi are very concerned with the age at which younglings start learning to use the Force. It's also why we can see literal infants floating things with their minds. Children have a more open mind. They aren't as set in their ways. In a lot of ways, I see the Force as a bit of a metaphor for imagination as well, but that's a topic for another video. Because it's all well and good to believe in yourself and believe that you can do great things to change the world or the Matrix or whatever universe you're in, but there's another aspect of the Force that gets brought up a lot, and that's balance. Using the Force requires concentration. Using the light side specifically requires calm, keeping a level head. I get questions all the time of people asking why someone didn't just use the Force to do one thing or another, like why didn't Obi-Wan use the Force to run faster and get to Qui-Gon? The answer for 95% of those questions is that the Force user in question was in a high-pressure situation. They weren't at their best mentally. The Force isn't an on and off switch where you just decide you're going to use Force speed or Force push now and it's working. We see something very similar happen in The Matrix. We get to see that Morpheus can do crazy things. He can jump the gaps between skyscrapers. But we see him nearly fail to make a much smaller jump to safety when Neo and Trinity show up in a helicopter to rescue him. While he's running to the helicopter, he's shot in the leg, and despite Morpheus knowing that the bullet isn't real, it's still enough to break his concentration. It breaks his focus, and now his mind is probably saying, "Are you crazy? You can't make this jump," despite having jumped much farther before. The Force requires that same kind of focus and balance. Just because you know you can technically do something, new situations can shake your confidence in yourself, or anxieties might preoccupy your mind and unbalance you. Like in Obi-Wan's case, his father figure is in a life or death situation fighting against the first Sith Lord anyone has seen in 1,000 years. I mean, if you look at Obi-Wan in those moments where he's cut off from Qui-Gon, he's acting more like Maul than his master. Obi-Wan is nervous, bouncing with anxiety, ready to fight. Maul is pacing like a predator. Qui-Gon is the one staying calm, staying focused and balanced and not letting himself succumb to anger or fear. Not that it saved him, and that's not really the point. I'm getting a little off topic, but one of my favorite Qui-Gon lines is from Claudia Gray's book Master and Apprentice. Qui-Gon says he doesn't serve the light side to win some sort of cosmic game. He's not on the side of light to win, he's on the side of light because it is the light. It is the right and good and just side, and even if giving into the dark could have saved him against Maul, he wasn't going to do it. And that's where I think Star Wars and The Matrix start to part ways. There isn't really a light and a dark side to Neo's powers. In fact, I think his and every other character's willingness to shoot anyone in their way because they might turn into agents is pretty questionable. But still, I found it interesting how many similarities there were at the core of Neo's powers and the Force. That your true power doesn't begin with your training, it begins with belief in yourself and staying balanced. That's not to discount training. Obviously, in the real world, you can't fly a plane just because you believe you can, but you first need to believe you can learn to do something amazing like that and have the confidence to take that first step. Also, it's cool that Neo can stop bullets and Kylo Ren can stop blaster bolts, that's the same too. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.